Ah, Master Adams, very white, very old, very dead. I may be flipping you off.
Hi, I'm a pony! 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 Pony!
And I'm some guy who's wearing a necktie that was part of the marketing campaign for the Trolls movie. Welcome to
Distance learning.
Hey, here we go. Welcome to week 12, something like that. So if we scroll down here to this magical thing, we'll see we are now in Unit 3. Unit 3, which is headlined, Hold On, I'm going to have to change some stuff here, was originally all about output and print. That obviously is no longer the case because printing is not something we can easily do. So we're going to switch that around a little bit. I'm going to walk through some of that today. The biggest change is with this week. This week, usually we would have been doing some work on print sizing. Some of this we've already gone over. A lot of our files, you guys have had to output them to specific print sizes, right? So we're like, oh, it's going to be on to fit on 8.5 by 11 or to fit on 17 by 22 or whatever. So I feel confident that you have a greater, lesser handle on that. What we don't have as much is a sense of what sort of different paper types look like, the implications of those. Some of those issues were addressed in Photo 1, if you happen to have me. But otherwise, you're just going to have to wait until we have a physical classroom to actually pick up pieces of paper and hold them. The old song about you have to know when to hold them and when to fold them. It's actually about origami. Who knew? So this week, we are going to walk through a couple of things. We're going to have a quiz, awesome, which will come next. We are going to have an extra credit assignment, which is going to be looking at some creative uses of the Photoshop brush tool. So I think that will be kind of interesting, maybe. I don't know that it's something that we're going to necessarily all use very frequently, but I think that probably for some of you it will be an interesting thing to work with. This week in general, what we want to be doing is working on stuff that you have that's missing. Do the extra credit assignment, right? There is zero downside to doing that. You cannot lose points. Begin, if you haven't already, working on your final project, right? I'll be around here to ask questions about that. And you should have that essentially put together by next week so that you can start using those actual files for the test strip assignment, which is what we're working on in week, 13. There is also, because you know I love you, there is a final exam, which everyone I know is super psyched about. Final exam is going to work basically the same as the midterm in that it will open up on a Monday, beginning of the day, and close Wednesday, end of the day. So you'll have this chunk of time to do it. It will essentially cover everything the midterm covered, plus the stuff that we've done since then. The stuff that we've done since then is basically just typography and vectors, right? So vector-based art, meaning drawing shapes using the pen tool, do that kind of thing. Typography, meaning choosing fonts, knowing the difference between the serif and sans serif font, rasterizing, masking fonts, using effects, that kind of stuff. There will be a midterm review guide thing, similar to the way that there was for the midterm. So keep that in mind. Go back and look at assignment 7, which was the midterm review. If you want to go look at your midterm, can you do that? I can reopen that folder or make it accessible again if you would like to look at that, because I think right now it is closed off. So anyway, those are things to keep in mind going forward. There's a handout for the extra credit assignment, so take a look at that in addition to the video that will be one of our clips this week. And again, remember that we're going to be working on test strips next week, so you do need to have those final project files pretty much in the can. The test strip obviously will not actually be printed, but making a test strip, knowing how to make a test strip is a really important skill and something that you will run into in future classes. Or if you don't run into it in future classes, if nobody bothers to tell you about doing it, knowing how to do it will be a huge help and mean that you are able to save money on printing down the line. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have this week by going up there into the files for this week, that folder, downloading those things, and then we can get going. Let's see, shared Google Drive folder. Sample files and miscellaneous. And here we are, week 12, which by the time you are looking at it will have been renamed distance learning sample files so that it aligns with the file names of the previous weeks. Open that up, go ahead and grab Quiz 9, download that. The instructions for Quiz 9 are in there. There's also assignment extra credit and the creative brushwork handout, which sort of goes along with the extra credit assignment. There are demo files that I used for the extra credit assignment walkthrough that will happen not the next clip, which is the quiz, but the quiz or the clip after that. But you should use your own files for it. Okay, so go ahead, open up that quiz folder, download those quizzes. The assignment for that quiz right here. Choose a big chunky font, write hidden in a light color, right? I used white, and I'll show you that sample in just a sec. We want to mask off part of it so that it looks like it is behind the building, right? We want the word hidden to be coming out of the building, or maybe it's out of the building. I don't know which side is which on the photograph compared to me right now. To do that, right, we're going to do that. We'll mask off that text layer. We're not rasterizing it. You will then put an effect on it, do a drop shadow. You will need to know the technique of how you put an effect on live text, or really put an effect on any layer that you've masked off, and have that effect not take place at the masked off edge, right? So if we have a drop shadow and we have masked off part of our text layer, without doing anything else, that text layer will have a drop shadow where the mask cuts it off. That is not what we want. We want everything, text and the drop shadow, to both be masked off. The way to do that, I go over it in the video for our previous assignment, where I talk about doing an effect on the magazine title text and then masking off both the title text and the effect. So if you want to go back in and take a look at that video before you do the quiz, that would probably make your life and your score a little bit better. Leave the color space the way it is. Make sure you have layers and things aren't rasterized and your layers are named right. Save it as quiz 9, drop it in that folder, and let's take a look at the sample. Here's a sample, right? It's a picture on 6th Avenue. And there's the word hidden. You can see this lovely drop shadow under it. Zoom in a little bit. And you can also see that the word is hidden by this building right here. So we have that text, it's live, there's an effect applied to it, and then I've masked both the text and the effect off so that they appear to be behind this building. So go ahead, take a look at that, do the quiz, turn it in, and then in the next clip I will walk through what you were supposed to do. Okay, see you then.